All right. I'm Brad Nelson, as Elizabeth said. I'm the IT guy. I'm IT professional by day, computer hacker by night, but don't worry, I'm one of the good guys, I promise. Yeah, today we're going to go over cybersecurity stuff that you should think about, be aware of while you're at work, but also this applies a lot to personal lives as well, because you know, everybody carries around one of these in their pockets nowadays, or computer, whatever. So the three core things that I want you guys to take away from this is, number one, cyber criminals are always one step ahead, but you can still stop them. Second, security is everybody's responsibility, including the janitor, whether you work on a computer or not. And trust but verify, because not everything is always as it seems. So, common cybersecurity threats that you're going to face in your day-to-day lives are things like phishing, malware, ransomware, which is technically malware as well, and insider threats. The first one there, phishing, is probably the thing you're going to see most commonly. This is some sort of malicious email that you'll get in, and usually they're disguised as something legitimate. So at a glance, it might look serious or important, but in fact, it's a criminal trying to get your information or money. There are lots of easy to identify phishing emails, like the Nigerian prince leaving you $95 million in his will, or the congratulations, you've won this big sweepstakes, even though you never entered. Or, hey, click this download link for whatever, you know, cool free game, pictures of women, whatever. Don't click those. Hard to identify phishing emails can look like somebody from inside your organization or somebody you know sent you the email. And these can get really sophisticated and they can look super legit. Usually they're really specific, and this is actually what we call spear phishing, which is where the criminal has done some research on you, has learned some information about you, and they are targeting you specifically and have a specific request, again, for information or usually for money. This is an example of a phishing email. This is a slightly more sophisticated one. It looks like it's coming from Microsoft, and it is telling the person that it was sent to that their account expires today and that they need to renew their password. But you can see that this email address is not from Microsoft. It's from some random magicpin.in. So, even though the body of the email looks really good, the sender is not legit, and you probably shouldn't click that. Now, this is another example of one that looks like it's coming from Microsoft, saying that this person's Office account is almost full and that they need to upgrade their storage. There's a few things that are off about this email. And first off, of course, this isn't from Microsoft. But the other thing is, the text in the email is fishy. You see here it says, click on this link to add additional 10 gig free and mandatory storage. It's not very good English. So, it's not from Microsoft, because they have people that speak English. Sometimes, though, they can get really sophisticated, and you can get into email addresses that are phony, but look legit. Some of these examples here, see this, see Noble at nobleexcavating.com. At a glance, that looks legit, but there's an E missing here. Or this one here, Noble at nobleexcavating.com, but Noble is spelled incorrectly. Or even this one is nobleexcavation.com, which is not correct. And then on the other side of the email address, you can get things where the domain name is correct, this side of the email is correct, nobleexcavating.com, but this side is misspelled or different. So, as you can see, both of those wouldn't necessarily be correct. Now, depending on email naming conventions, you know, this could be correct, but obviously this one is misspelled. Whoops. So, moving on from phishing. Now that is going to be the most common one, but phishing is usually a delivery method for malware, or again, to get you on the phone to send you money, to send you company secrets or personal information. Malware is malicious software that gets downloaded onto your computer, onto your phone, and can spy on you, can serve you ads, it can steal your information, etc. There's several different kinds. Worms, Trojans, spyware, adware, ransomware, they all do different things, but they're all under that malicious software umbrella. The one that is seems to be most common nowadays and that you'll possibly run into is ransomware. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But to fight malware, of course, we use antivirus software. I'm sure most of you have used antivirus software, or at least heard of it. And it detects and removes known malicious software, which is a traditional method. But it also can use a database of common malware attributes to detect new malware that it's never seen before. So this is really good to have. But again, cyber criminals are always one step ahead, and they are always finding new vulnerabilities in software and devices and that sort of thing that are unknown to the mainstream and antivirus might not detect. So there's certain things that you can do on top of antivirus, just habit-wise, that can help prevent even this stuff. So ransomware, I said I'd talk about this. Ransomware is a pretty terrible one. It encrypts all of your information and holds it hostage. Usually, it looks something like this. It gives you a timer, and it tells you, send me $300 worth of Bitcoin and I'll unlock all your files. There are ways to prevent getting this in the first place. And that's simply by avoiding stuff like this. You see big download now buttons, usually on the side of websites or on social media sites, or again, in phishing emails. Stay away from downloading stuff that you can't verify the owner. Other things, I know Facebook's been cracking down on a lot of this, but this was really big for a while, these clickbait titles on Facebook and other social media platforms. Like, you'll be shocked how amazing his abs are after eating this superfood. You go, oh man, I want nice abs. So you click it, all of a sudden, ransomware. Not good, don't do that. Preventing malware and ransomware, again, antivirus, it's a good thing to have, good first step. That's something that we're taking care of as far as the business is concerned, but just things that you should do in your daily lives is don't open random email attachments. If it comes from somebody you don't know, or some fantastical thing like you won this sweepstakes, don't download any of the attachments. Don't click them. And don't try to download random software. If you're looking for video games to play on your computer or a specific type of software that you want to install, don't just click on the first one that you see when you Google it. You want to do a little research to figure out what's legit and what's not. And then, as far as work is concerned, only use work computers and work devices for work things. So you shouldn't be playing games or downloading random stuff onto work computers. Another thing that's really big is insider threats. And this is mostly for business, but this does also apply to your personal lives. But insider threats, as far as the business, this can be basically anybody that has access to sensitive equipment or sensitive information. This can be employees, contractors, or cyber criminals are kind of sort of an insider threat, but I'll explain that in a bit. But as far as employees, you could have the disgruntled employee, somebody who woke up on the wrong side of the bed, they don't like their job, and one day they decide to just burn everything down. So, there's HR things that can be done to help with the disgruntled employee, but also just paying attention to people you're working with, and just saying like, hey man, it's okay, it's okay. Or crooked contractors. You have a contractor coming in like me, working, I'm not a crooked one though, I promise, coming in and working on your things and having access to whatever sensitive area, making sure that you vet contractors before you hire them, making sure that they have the proper, like they are escorted properly, and that they are checking in and checking out with people. But it's not just the disgruntled employees, not just the crooked contractors who are trying to get more money out of you or whatever. It's also gruntled employees. And this guy looks very gruntled. And yes, I promise that gruntled is a real word. It is the opposite of disgruntled. And it is the reliable contractors as well. So how can these people also be threats? Usually just by accident. It's by clicking that link in a phishing email, or by downloading that free Candy Crush game on their work computer, or being persuaded by a cyber criminal to do something that seems non-important, non-insecure, but actually is. That brings us to the cyber criminals, and that's why they're kind of sort of an insider threat, kind of sort of an outsider threat. Cyber criminals, we think of them kind of like this, with the hoodie, and they're sitting at their computer, hacking away at the mainframe or whatever, writing malicious software and going in there to attack your devices from the outside. But they're actually more often making phone calls and sending emails to gain access to things that they shouldn't have access to. And cyber criminals don't actually usually look like this. Usually they look like this. This is Kevin Mitnick. He was the #1 most wanted person by the FBI in 1995 for cybercrimes. This is Marcus Hutchins. He, about a decade ago, he pled guilty and convicted of creating and spreading Kronos malware, which is a malicious piece of software that steals bank credentials and steals money. Both of these guys now are, unfortunately, Kevin Mitnick died last year, but he had after he got out of jail, had a long career as a cybersecurity professional, helping businesses secure their stuff, and that's the same with Marcus Hutchins here now. He's a malware analyst. But just because they look friendly and well-kept and they don't wear a black hoodie doesn't mean they're not a threat. If somebody like this walked into the office and said, hey man, I really need some help, can you print my resume for me, and handed you a flash drive, you might be willing to help him. But that flash drive might have malware on it. Same with this guy. If this guy walked in and he said, oh, I'm here to work on the sink, and maybe he's dressed as a plumber. You say, oh yeah, it's just back there. And then he walks unattended back to wherever, maybe back to some sensitive equipment that he shouldn't have access to. So always asking questions. When people come in and they're asking for things that seem a little weird, seem a little off, or are asking for help for things and you've never met them before, verifying who they are and just simply asking, who are you, where'd you come from, that's not being rude, that's being secure. And any normal person will willingly tell you, oh, I am so-and-so, and I'm with this whatever, and I'm here to do X, Y, Z. And then you can verify with whoever else.
This is literally what happened with you. You walked into our office, plugged into our computers, and turned around and walked out.
Exactly.
Yep.
But
did you verify this guy?
But he swears to God he's the good guy.
Yeah.
But I was being escorted by Elizabeth and Sonia at the time. So that's your
That is
verification.
exactly right.
So it's on them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
but that is very true. That is very true. If I would have walked in, if I would have just walked into your office and be like, hey, I'm the new IT guy. I need to install this on your computer. That would be a time where you'd be like, hold on, I've never seen you before. Let me go talk to so-and-so or whatever, instead of just saying, yeah, okay.
So the backstory though to him, just so y'all don't think that we did this. We actually, we interviewed him. We had a set of questions that we asked him and we checked references on him. And then we invited him to come and do discovery in our office. So there was a vetting process.
Yeah.
Well, then references could have been his snakes.
Correct.
I know somebody. No snake.
But that's the type of mentality that y'all should have, is trust but verify. You need to be verifying everything. So that's very good. Yes. I don't know that I look as good as these guys. Though, so.
They're locked in.
So some tactics that these guys use are social engineering phone calls, in-person social engineering, and flash drive drops. The social engineering phone calls, maybe you've gotten these before. Sometimes they can sound really cheesy and sometimes they can sound really legit. You get a phone call and they say, hey, this is Bob from Microsoft and we notice your computer has viruses. Can I remote into your computer and clear out those viruses? It's free of charge. And you go, oh yeah, sure, Bob. And you let him onto your computer. Bob's not from Microsoft. He's there trying to install some crazy stuff on your computer to steal information. Or it can be even like a call, hey, I am, I'm so-and-so's wife, somebody you work with. I'm so-and-so's wife. He forgot XYZ. Can you tell me this piece of personal information? At first that sounds legit, but you really shouldn't be giving any information to unverified sources. Instead, you could be like, okay, well, I'll talk to your husband and let him know that he forgot this thing, and I'll have him call you and give you that information. Stuff like that. In-person social engineering. This is like what I described before, somebody walking into the office or walking into wherever and saying like, oh, I need to go wherever, and you just say, okay. And I have an example of that coming up as well, a story. Flash drive drops. That's the other thing is malware can be put on a flash drive and it can be ran automatically when you plug it into your computer. And a common tactic is just to literally put malware on a flash drive, drop it in the parking lot. Because, you drive up into the parking lot to get to work and you look down and you say, oh, flash drive on the ground. I wonder what's on this. You plug it into your computer, well, now it's too late. If you come across something like this, it's best to just pick it up and throw it in the trash. Or if you suspect that it could be somebody else's flash drive that you work with, handing it off to IT, like us, we can plug it into a machine that's isolated from everything and see if it's legit or not. Or even just walking into the office and say, hey, did somebody drop a flash drive? And then people can say yes or no there. This is so common and so easy to get to work, this method, that we have memes about it in the IT world. If you're cold, they're cold, so put them in your computer at work. So, the phone social engineering. This is actually called vishing. It's kind of like phishing with the emails, but vishing with voice phishing. Again, they pretend to be someone legit. They'll ask for access or information or money, and usually they'll tell you, okay, go download this thing on your computer, or go buy Apple gift cards and give me the code, and that's how we'll get this sorted out. Never do that. So, as far as physical social engineering, This is Sterling Bank in Walla Walla. This actually is something completely else now, but this building is in a town in eastern Washington. When I was a younger punk, me and another friend of mine who were into all this stuff, they were doing construction on this building. The bank had closed down, and they were renovating it into something else. And we said, we want to know what it's like inside there. We want to know, are there still bank vaults? Is there still whatever? What's still left in there? So one day, in the middle of the day, broad daylight, this is downtown, by the way. People were walking all around here. We just walked in. We were wearing safety vests and hard hats, and I was carrying a toolbox. All that was in the toolbox was a camera. We even made little badges. There are photos of this, but unfortunately I could not find them in time for this presentation. But we literally just walked in. Nobody said anything because it looked like we were supposed to be there. And we found 4 bank vaults, lots of random construction equipment, and we weren't there to, vandalize or do anything like that. We just wanted to see the inside. But still, we just walked in. I don't recommend anybody do this because this is not legal, and statute of limitations is up because I was a young kid, so I can tell you this story. But it's the same thing with your office, like I explained before. Somebody could just walk in if they look legit, if they walk and talk like a plumber, walk and talk like a OSHA inspector. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are. Excuse me. So, what are some other things that you can do to help prevent a lot of this stuff in your work and home life? First thing is strong passwords. Please don't just have no passwords on anything. Passwords are a good thing. And I'll show you some tricks on how to create secure passwords that you can still remember. Strong passwords need to be long. They need to be hard to brute force by a computer, and they need to be hard for a cyber criminal to guess. You'd be surprised how many times a password isn't cracked by a computer, but is just guessed by a cyber criminal. Happens all the time. How long should they be? The standard used to be 8 characters, but now, with today's modern technology, you can rent a computer from Amazon for like $50, and you can run a password cracker on it, and you can crack every single 8-character password in less than an hour. Now, every single character you add extends that exponentially, and so 12-character passwords take 3,000 years with current technology, current cracking technology. So 12-character passwords are now the standard. So designing your password, they need to be 12 characters minimum. They need to be complex, and they need no personal information, but they also need to be easy to remember. Now, the 12-character minimum is to prevent the cracking with softwares and computers. The complex makes it difficult to guess. Also, that's where the no personal info comes in, because again, if somebody's calling you up, social engineering you, like, I wish I could find it, but there was this video I saw not too long ago where there was somebody on the street interviewing people, and he walked up to this girl and said, "Hey, what do you use as a password?" She said, "Oh, my cat's name and my birth year." He goes, "Oh, you have a cat." And she says, "Oh yeah, he's this cute little orange cat. His name's Garfield." And he's like, "Oh, that's awesome." And he's like, "Wait, you seem to be about the same age as me. What year were you born?" She's like, "Oh, I was born 1975. "Oh, wow, okay." He's like, "Hey, is your password Garfield 1975? And she was blown away. "How did you know that?" Well, because she just told him. And there's that example, and there's Garfield. Bad passwords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a bad password. Password, that's a bad password. Top secret, That's a bad password. Of course, Garfield 1975. Again, Garfield 1975 actually has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 characters. But it has personal information, so that's not good. This is also a bad password. And at first, it looks like it's not, but it's because it's only 8 characters long. And so a person wouldn't be able to guess that, but a computer would in less than an hour. So tricks for making good passwords. Long sayings or phrases. They're hard to crack and they're hard to guess. Now this kind of goes against a lot of the password wisdom that you're going to hear out there. You're going to hear a lot of people say, use a random password generator to generate a random string of characters. While that is good, they're hard to remember. But you make passwords like this. The big brown horse jumped over the fence. This satisfies this like 36 characters. That's way more than 12. So a computer can't crack that. And the likelihood that somebody is going to guess that specific sentence is next to nothing. Same, like, Noble is the best place to work, #1. It's not bad. And Ford is way better than Chevy and Dodge. Not only is that a good password, it is objectively true. So, designing passwords like this is great. Or taking the favorite passage from a book or a line from a movie. Of course, sprinkling in, you see like on this one, I changed the O to a 0, add an exclamation point at the end because a lot of software requires you to have uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. So, again, this is easy to remember, and it fits all our other criteria. It's long enough, and it's hard to guess. Also, you need to keep your password secure. It doesn't help if your password is on a sticky note stuck to your monitor or your laptop. That is an easy way to remember it, but if you create passwords like I just showed you, shouldn't be hard to remember. Also, if you absolutely have to write it down somewhere that's more secure than this. Write it down in a notebook that you keep in your pocket all the time. You know, something like this. That's not the most secure thing, of course, because if this falls out of my pocket or somebody steals it and my password's in here, that's not good, but it's a whole lot better than having it out in the open like this. Or please, please don't put it under your keyboard or under your laptop, because that's the first place that cybercriminals look. The other thing that you can do to help secure your password is use multi-factor authentication. And that's a fancy way of just saying have a second verification for when you log into things. That's examples like if you use authenticator apps or email or SMS codes. Like when you log into a website and it sends you a text message with a code. That's like this. Most softwares nowadays, you can enable this, and I recommend you do. It's easy. And be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of everything, because only you can prevent security breaches. If you see something suspicious, something is weird or off, say something. Say something to a coworker, to your superior, whoever. And verify those sensitive transactions. If somebody is asking for sensitive information or asking for money, like if you get an email saying, hey, I need you to send over this sensitive information, and it looks like it's coming from somebody inside your organization, pick up the phone, call them, say, hey, you know, I see you sent me this email. How do you want this information? And they're either going to say, oh, send it to me in this format, and then you know it's legit, or they're going to say, what email? I didn't send you that email. And then you can ignore it. So in the case of a breach, because it happens, if you get viruses or you click on a phishing link or whatever, contact your superior first, then contact IT, and document what happened. Just write it down, and then we can get it taken care of. And we're basically at the end. This is, anybody got any questions?
So like the flash drive thing,
Mm-hmm.
when you stay at hotels, a lot of times they have a USB port that you can charge your phone from. It's the same thing, right?
Yep, I would not plug your phone into that. Yeah, I definitely bring your own charger that plugs into the wall outlet and charge your phone that way. There was actually a really good display at, there was a hacker conference called DEF CON, happens every year. There's a really good display that they had where they had a little kiosk that had a sign that said free phone charging, and they had a bunch of cables there plugged into this thing, and on the other side they had a computer with a monitor that was, displaying everything that it was dumping off of the phones that was plugged into it. So that is a good thing. Don't charge your phone in one of those. Also, airports too. Airports are more secure than hotels, but that doesn't mean that they can't happen.
So even like the alarm clock in the hotel that's got a USB that you charge off of.
Yep.
Never charge off those. 'Cause it's
Never
the same
charge
as
off.
a USB port.
Yep. And same thing with like if you're at a hotel or airport connected to Wi-Fi. Don't do any sensitive surfing on that Wi-Fi without something like a VPN. So don't check your bank account. Don't log into any of your important accounts or anything like that. If you want to go on YouTube and watch cat videos, that's fine. But
What's a good VPN for iPhone?
for iPhone, well, there's lots of different options out there. Personally, I use one called Unlimited VPN by Mono Defense, but other good ones are like Proton VPN is really good, I've heard. Private Internet Access is a good one that my friend uses. I would just, if you're searching for a VPN to use, free VPNs are a scam. If the service is free, then you're the product being sold. So no free VPNs. Second is just do a quick Google search and see if they've ever had any data breaches. So like NordVPN is a big one, but I personally would stay away from it because it had a major security breach a couple years ago. Doesn't mean that they haven't sorted it out, but excuse me. But that is, I don't know that I would trust my sensitive information with that. Any other questions?
How good is LifeLock to protect your stuff?
I don't know. I've seen it advertised a lot, but I really know nothing about it. So, yeah. Could be good, could be not good. I don't know.
Yeah. See it advertised a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm old and forgetful, as
Yeah.
everybody knows, but I save a lot of my passwords and stuff on my phone, but I can't remember shit.
Mhm.
Is that probably a big no-no, or?
I mean, that's okay as long as you have a password on your phone, a secure password on your phone. Because you have to think now you have a single point of failure, basically. If you have a note on your phone or a spreadsheet on your computer or whatever with all your passwords saved, if they have the password to your phone, now they have all your passwords. So it's not necessarily bad. I'm not going to say that that's a bad thing to do because I understand. You have different passwords for all these
There you go,
things.
you're young.
But having a secure password on your phone, yeah.
Well, even when it comes to that, like a lot of iPhones now, it's just like the Face ID,
Mhm.
and they won't even allow you to put in like your code for that. Like it has to be the Face ID.
Yep.
For that kind of sensitive information.
Yeah, and that's good too. And a lot of Android phones have fingerprint readers now too. Yeah.
They just got the phone and pointed at their face and there you go.
Yeah.
Well, a lot
Oh, I
of
was-
them, like you have to be looking at it too.
Yeah, but if they hold you hostage, look in your phone.
Or if they say,
And then your like eyes have to be open too. Like there's all sorts.
if they're like,
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I don't know, but at that point, you probably have other problems.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably like kidnapping.
Yeah. What was that?
How dangerous is public
When dealing with sensitive stuff like bank accounts and all that sort of thing, extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous.
So if you are opening up Like if you're doing banking or something, if you're just looking at Facebook, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, logging into Facebook, somebody could get your Facebook password that way, but just, yeah, on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, it's not a big deal. But if you're, I would stay away from sensitive things like, yeah, banking is a good example. It's called, it's called a man-in-the-middle attack when, like I said, they could just look like normal people sitting in the same coffee shop as you. And they're sitting there on their laptop, and they have basically taken over the network and nobody knows. It's called a man-in-the-middle attack. They use what's called ARP poisoning. They take the requests from your computer, run it through their computer, scrape all the data, and then pass it on to the normal network. And so to you, nothing has changed, but they have gotten all of your data. Using a VPN circumnavigates that because it encrypts all of your information and basically sends it through a dedicated pipe to a server somewhere else. So it'd be like connecting to that open Wi-Fi and you're on the Wi-Fi there at a coffee shop. If you use a VPN, it would be like connecting through the coffee shop to like your home network. So. Anything else?
Still using Face ID on your banking information, is that okay?
What was that?
Using like your Face ID on your phone to access your bank account?
Yeah, no, that's a great way to do it. Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I think we're done. If you have any other questions, then you can grab me before I leave, or my email address is really easy. It's info@frcstech.com. So, cool. Thank you. I guess we can just break now.